So if you've been keeping up with the videos I've been posting, you've been seeing that we have been defining science and the history of science. And these are not my words. This is not something I'm making up. These are facts. These are what accepted mainstream has posted online. Let's go over the definition of science again. The intellectual and practical activity encompassing the systematic study and structure of the behavior of the physical and natural world through observation and experiment. Has nothing there about saying do put faith in the that someone else did an experiment. Doesn't say through the observation and experiment of others. It doesn't say through observation and experiments that you have faith in. It doesn't say through observation and experiment you've seen online and hope is real. It doesn't say that. Now, I would, I was hoping that I didn't have to sit here and spoon feed you guys, because that's not the purpose of all of this. Like, we're not supposed to be spoon feeding each other. As I've been saying all this shit about citing, like, oh, people are citing stuff. Like, oh, the Catholics, they cite. That's what they do. Okay, they'll grab they'll grab. Matter of fact, Catholics don't even cite. The Christians do. So that's the problem with this whole citation. Oh, yeah, I'm gonna cite this. I'm gonna cite that. Like, that's basically proof that you have no critical thought. You can't think for yourself. You have to cite with other people. Now, if you're gonna tell me to believe in science, I'm gonna tell you that is dumb, and I could prove that's dumb, and I could prove that has nothing, that's pseudoscience. I could totally prove that's pseudoscience. Okay, now we're gonna go straight to Nullius and verba. Okay, this is something I've been saying for a while now. If you guys look on my MeWe profile, you'll see that this is on my profile. Okay, Nullius and verba. Do you even Latin, bro? Let's go with it. So Nullius in verba, Latin for on the word of no one, or take nobody's word for it, is the motto of the Royal Society. Now, if you don't know who the Royal Society is, then you really don't know nothing about science. And I'm pretty sure that Craig McNeil and Michael Toon, MC Toon, I'm pretty sure that they don't know who the Royal Society is, because they would have known this motto. This motto has been around since 1660. So, and you could scroll down and see how this motto came about. You could scroll down. You could look it up. Who the Royal Society was. They have gold coins with the term Nullius in verba on the bottom. Their shield also displays Nullius in verba. Nullius verba. Nullius in verba. Now, what that means is you don't trust no one. Trust no man, trust no bitch, trust no one. Don't take anyone's word for it. Don't believe in it. Okay? So if you're going to tell me believe in science, I'm going to laugh at you. Because nowhere did anyone ever say that you can believe in science. A belief, an opinion, an assertion, an assumption is not science. Science is experimentation and the art or the skill of trying to know. Like, you're trying to figure stuff out. You want to know. Okay? So Nullius in verba. Don't tell me that I have to believe in science. I don't have to believe in science, because that is stupid as fuck. That is retarded. Now, I was hoping I wouldn't have to sit here and point this out. I mean, it's on my profile on MeWe. I've spoke about this many other times. I've also spoke about ethos, pathos, logos. And if you don't know what that is, then you don't know what debate is. So, so now that we've gone over the Nullius and verba, let's recap on everything one more time, because we already know what Nullius in verba means, and we know it came from the Royal Society. Let's read a little bit more about this so we can see something right here. So, Nullius in verba is Latin for on the word of no one or take nobody's word for it, is the motto of the Royal Society. John Evan and other fellows of the Royal Society chose the motto soon after the Society's founding in 1660. So back in 1660, a bunch of natural philosophers, because the word scientist didn't exist yet. Okay, so natural philosophers so they were called fellows, and they all got together, and they started the Royal Society, and basically they would sit around and do science experiments, and they wouldn't believe. And these guys were hardcore religious people, by the way, and they still went and did science experiments together. So you can't tell me to believe in science, because that's really stupid. It's not part of science. That's not science at all. And we've already defined it. It's through observation and experiment. And Nullius and verba, along with this, would definitely imply you have to go outside and do it yourself. You can't trust no one. You can't put your faith. You can't put your hope in what someone else said that they did. Okay, we already went over astrology and astronomy. I've already used good examples for astrology, such as dark energy is going to rip up the universe into nothingness. That is definitely celestial objects as a basis for prediction of future events. I've also explained looking up at, they're like, oh yeah, in Mars, the atmosphere dissipated, and then you show me a cartoon, and then you tell me that you've seen that shit online. That is also astrology. You're trying to tell me that what happened on a celestial object is gonna happen here on Earth in the future. That is astrology. That is not astronomy. Okay, I've already explained that in between astronomy and astrology, there's a a little middle spot called theoretical astronomy. Now, theoretical astronomy is not observational astronomy. They're not the same thing. I suggest you guys look that up as well. I'm not going to spoon feed you guys. I'm just pointing you guys in the right direction. All right? We already know about Isaac Newton. He's a schizophrenic. Psychotic tendencies, bipolar disorder. Nullius in verba, Nullius in verba, Nullius in verba. I have no reason to believe a schizophrenic religious idiot who called himself he literally said he was a prophet, by the way. Okay? He said that the Principia was given to him by God. You could look that up. It's right. I could easily. I'm pretty sure I already had that. See, right here. Isaac Newton received the Principia. Isaac Newton received the Principia as a gift of God, but it was not a free gift. Anyone who has browsed through the translation of Principia could easily see that Newton was a genius with a very wide knowledge of mathematics. Okay, he spent all that Principia has. You're gonna sit there and tell me that God told you to tell me, then I don't have to listen to that. Okay, that's Nullius and verba again. I'll invoke that easily. Get the fuck out of my face with that shit. We already went over Charles Darwin. His burial site, totally Catholic. On his deathbed, he told everyone he was sorry for having made up that stupid theory. We already went over that he was never an atheist. His own words. In my most extreme fluctuations, I have never been an atheist in the sense of denying the existence of God. His theory, okay, it's his theory. It's not your theory. It's not someone else's theory. It's Darwin's theory. And Darwin said evolution was started by a creator. You can't sit there and change that. You can't cherry pick that. You can't sit there and say, I believe in evolution, but not in the creator part. It doesn't work like that, okay? It doesn't work. That's his theory. He said it. That's his. It's not your theory to twist, all right? If you're gonna sit there and invoke evolution, you have to invoke the God that's part of that theory. That's his theory. It's part of his. It's his equation. His equation includes a God. Okay, so he said he wasn't sure if it was one life form that started turning into a bunch of different life forms, or if it was a few life forms that began turning into different life forms. But he did say God created that life form. He breathed life into one form or many, several forms. That's what he said. So if you're gonna sit there and invoke evolution, you have to accept the God part. You can't sit there and say Darwin was never an atheist. He clearly said he believed in God. Now, according to what's written, he on his deathbed he told everyone he was wrong about heliocentric about evolution, and he asked for forgiveness from God for having made up that lie. He admitted he lied about it on his deathbed. His burial site is totally Catholic. You could all look this up, okay? I'm pushing you in the right direction. I'm not gonna keep read it for you over and over and over. We already went over Big Bang. He's a Catholic priest. I've already explained that George Lemaitre worked for the Catholic Church. Okay, he doesn't have freedom of speech. He is not the speaker for the Catholic Church. I mean, he doesn't tell the Catholic Church what to say. The Catholic Church tells the priests what to say. That's how that works. Bishops and the Pope get together and they tell everyone what to say. Okay, he has no freedom of speech. He works for the Catholic Church. He got paid for them. He lived his whole life depending on them, and basically he worked for them, and that's a proven fact. Catholic priests work for the Catholic Church. Now I've already explained why they lied about this. Okay, why would they twist science and make it stupid? Because if there's 7, 8 billion, 9 billion people right now supposedly in existence. Now, if all those people were outside doing science experiments, the church wouldn't be able to tax anyone. Matter of fact, the government wouldn't either. The government and the church would both fail if everyone went outside to do science experiments. Can you guys comprehend that? That's the power of science. That's what they're afraid of. They're afraid of people just going out there and doing science experiments. Because all lies will come to fruit. All lies will be revealed. They'll be exposed. Okay? You can't, if you're going to sit there and say, I believe in science, you're believing these fucking idiots that are telling you not to do science experiments and just to believe in it. All right? I have no reason to put faith, nor hope, nor trust in this Catholic Church priest. I don't. Nullius in verba. Again, I invoke that. All right? Real simple. There's no reason to put faith in anything a Catholic priest says. They get paid to say what they say by the Catholic Church. Moving forward, speaking of Catholic Church, we have Nicholas Copernicus. Okay, have you seen Shrek? Have you seen Shrek? The little bad guy, that little short dude, that's that's literally Copernicus. That's what they're making fun of. Let me see why. So as a church canon, Nicholas Copernicus worked for a bishopric in Poland collecting rent. Sorry, I'm kind of thirsty. Excuse me for that. Okay, so as a church canon, Nicholas Copernicus worked for a bishopric in Poland collecting rents, securing military defenses, overseeing chapter finances, managing a bakery, brewery, and mills, and caring for the medical needs of other canons. Copernicus' astronomical work took place in his spare time apart from other obligations. See, the things that back then, you had jobs, and science, you didn't get paid to do science, okay? Science was not, the word scientist didn't even exist yet. And you didn't get paid to do science. You wanted to know because you wanted to know. Now, as we could see right here, in his depiction from back then, here he is praying. You have Jesus on the cross on one side, then you have the globe on the other side. Now, at one point, these two religious objects were one object called globus cruciger. All right? So back then, you didn't get paid to do something. It wasn't a form of employment at that time. You just went out and did science experiments. Okay, you didn't get paid or get awards for that shit. That came after all of these guys got together and started the Royal Society. So, as you can see, that's the Shrek dude. Yeah, if you see him, he's taxing people on that cartoon, and then he's torturing that little cookie guy that you bake, because he was a baker. Yeah, he was running he used to manage a bakery, so that's why they're making fun of him on Shrek. So yeah, so heliocentricity came from the Catholic Church, as we can see, and he's a Catholic Church canon, and if I'm pretty sure that most of you never even seen that little this little depiction of him praying the way he is and all that. Uh, there's more images that where there's a famous painting that was made. Let's see if we can get it going. And supposedly the painting is where he's talking right here. Here it is. This famous painting right here. That famous painting right there is him talking to God. Um, God has revealed to him some new information, being that supposedly, first of all, that God is Helios, and then secondly, that reality revolves around that God. So that's where that came from. So heliocentricity is exactly that. Helios, that's a God. Centricity, that means everything revolves around that God. So that's a religion. Sun worshiping is an ancient religion. We know about that already. Like, it goes back way, way, way. I mean, that's probably one of the first forces or first celestial object that was that in the moon. Those two have obviously been worshipped since the beginning of time. And I don't mean like, and I'm not saying that there's a beginning actually of time. Excuse me. Yeah, so I don't, I mean, personally, I don't believe that there's a beginning to time. I don't, time is a man-made illusion. So none of that to me, none of this global belief system makes sense to me. So basically, yeah, let's go back to Nullius and verba. So we've gone over the core beliefs that came from from your curriculum you were raised to, that you were indoctrinated to believe in, came from universities. Those universities came from the Catholic Church. The Catholic Church is part of state